My name is Godwin Akujeze, Director Technical Services, ADP, Anambra State. Thank you.
My name is Izuako Alex, Director Rural Institution Development, ADP, Anambra State. Thank you.
So, let's see.
Yes, my name is Abiakam Franklin. I'm Assistant Chief Engineer, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, here to represent the State Coordinator, Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you.
All right. Okay, I am Carlo Kelechi Carlo. I'm the founder of Kegra Nigeria Limited. And what we do, basically, we are the ones that wrote to you that we wanted to come around. What we do is that we promote agriculture. We make agriculture look appealing to the youths. We know that the youths are actually the mainstay when it comes to agriculture. Unfortunately, most of them have been shying away from it. So we are using the social media platform, which is Facebook and TikTok, which is very accessible to them, to ensure that we bring them on board. We have covered a couple of states and local government. Last year, we covered Nasarawa State, Plateau State, Yobe State, Bauchi State, Benue State. Then we have done Abia State, Akwa Ibom State, and Cross River State. We deal holistically on every agricultural commodity being done in Nigeria. However, we pay special attention to the palm sector because the palm sector used to be a mainstay when it comes to southern Nigeria. Unfortunately, we have lost our grip. So we have been doing a lot of research, doing a lot of videos. We have visited institutions like Wilma, the ones that produce King's Oil and Mamador Oil. Wilma, that's in Cross River State, Biasa local government. We have also visited a couple of other plantations, seeing what they're doing, learning from them. We have reached out to NIFO, that's Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research, for more information on how to bring these things closer to the youth. So our aim of coming here is actually to get the government's perspective on it. We are still a private institution doing the little we can do, but we are limited by visibility and a whole lot of other factors. So we wanted to know maybe what is the government doing, what is the approach to this, what is the approach to that, to ensure we tell this story correctly and be able to onboard the right set of people into the farm and agriculture at large. So I really want to also thank everyone for making our time, and I'm also appreciating the permanent secretary that gave us an audience. And I believe that with all of us here, we are going to bring out a lot of information that will help everyone. Okay, the first question we want to know is that we have done a lot of research, we have visited a lot of locations, but we noticed a kind of problem. What are the policies that are being put in place to be able to encourage agriculture or to help the youths to come into this agricultural thing in all the things that are found in Anambra State?
Thank you very much. Just like I said before, my name is Godwin Akujeze, Director Technical, ADP. And the government has done a lot in terms of boosting agriculture in Anambra State. Just like what you are saying, palm. Fortunately, our governor, Professor C.C. Soludo, has launched a palm revolution in this state for the past 2 or 3 years, whereby he has distributed palm seedling to almost all the families in the whole of Anambra State. Last 2 years, they distributed palm seedling, coconut, in short, to almost all the nooks and the crannies of Anambra State. So I am trying to tell you that in next 2 years more, or in next 1.5 years, Anambra State will be the hallmark of palm production, because there's no family that you have gone now that you not see at least 4 or 5 palm seedling. And the funny part of it is that we are collaborating with NIFO. All these palms are coming from this NIFO, and they are the early maturing. Within 2 or 3 years, they start to bear fruit. And you know, palm oil now is a very lucrative business. It's a gold. Anything there, there's nothing that is not useful there. So the government has keyed in into that palm revolution, and they have farms around where they set a palm plantation, which is a sort of creating employment opportunities for the youth. Even the government has said that if you have any land that you are not using, tell the Ministry of Agric, they will come there, they will develop the land and do plantation in collaboration with the youth of that area. That will help them to create job opportunities for some of them that actually want to be meaningful to themselves. So the government has gone a long way towards keying into the palm revolution of the state. Because, you know, lately, Mike Awabara, when he was the then administrator of the Eastern region, we have all these palm settlements at Nebariam, where you go, you see massive palm plantation there. That has been the hub of agricultural activity in the state, and the governor is keying into that. Thank you. That's all I can say now.
Okay, does anyone want to?
In addition to all you have said, there's also something that with this present administration, what we have continued to do, or what the Mr. Commissioner, and by extension the governor of the state, has continued to do is what I've actually witnessed is the fact that youths are given priority. A few years ago, we started free distribution of organic manure, organic fertilizers. You know, it was given for free, and it was given to youth groups in parts of the states. You know, because another thing with this administration is that we are de-emphasizing fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers, with this administration, and emphasizing organic fertilizer and regenerative agriculture. So in light of that, at the start of this administration, what they set out to do was to encourage youths to toe the line of regenerative agriculture, to toe the line of adopting organic fertilizers in their farms, or manures in their farms. You know, so we in the ministry here, we developed in-house organic fertilizers in-house, which were distributed to, and some of them sold at low subsidized rates to youth groups, you know, for their farming. So that has been one of it. Then additionally, there's other projects, the SHEP projects, you know, that has actually targeted rural women and youths. The SHEP projects, the biggest beneficiaries of the SHEP projects are youths and women. And then what it's all about is smallholder horticultural empowerment promotion. So what we do is we go to these rural areas, then look for horticultural farmers. By horticulture, we mean vegetables, you know, and try to brush them up technically. You know, you'll be surprised at how much they don't know, you know, and they've been farming all their lives, you know. So what we did was, for 3 years now, we've been going to these rural areas, selecting groups, horticultural groups from these rural areas, using them as target groups, you know, to impact those technical skills, impact those technical skills. Then, hopefully, because it's not going to be a one-off thing, the second stage of it is that we're going to keep going, keep monitoring, seeing how they transfer these skills, you know. But what you have done so far in 5 or 6 local governments, 6 local governments in Anambra State since 2023 or thereabout. We've gone to these local governments, sought out youths doing horticulture, then try to build their know-how. So if there are other things we remember, I think we can, update. All right. Okay.
Yes, let me add to what the state officers of State Ministry of Agriculture has said. I work with Federal Ministry of Agriculture, but we work in synergy. There are a lot of federal government projects and inputs into the states, Anambra states. They have idea of it because you asked what is the government, both state, federal, have been doing to pull our youths and encourage people to go more into agriculture. So I will speak for the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And I would say since 2017 till date, the federal government have been providing access roads. Some of them at the beginning were surface dressed roads. Some were earth roads. Then later we moved into asphaltic road because when we found out that the earth ones did not last longer, and so mostly federal government provides asphalt quality roads now for agriculture in Anambra State. And we have done many roads that led into farms and the rural areas to encourage the farmers to be able to bring out their produce. Then on that thing again, that the federal government has done a lot was capacity building. The federal government has always invited Nigerian youths for training, either in different areas, zones, and even at the headquarters, Abuja, to train them on different skills in agriculture. Then we have also, the federal government has also provided potable water, that's in terms of borehole, in many communities, so that the farmers can access water to be able to farm and also process their produce. What else? We have also built, the federal government has also built a lot of markets in rural areas so that they block markets for them so that they can have where they sell their agricultural produce. We have also, the federal government also provides farm inputs, which everybody knows of this, directly to the farmer through your phone number. It started with GES in 2012, I think, during Jonathan's time, President Jonathan's time, down to Buhari, down to our president today, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They provide fertilizer to farmers, different types of fertilizer, the urea, the NPK, different qualities of that input. Then they also provide the things like maize, rice, for those who are in the area where these things are planted. These are what federal governments have been doing, and many more. This is what federal governments have been doing over the years to improve farming in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, in addition, from what they've just said, when all these things have been done, state government provide input through the governor, the federal government provide input through the head of state, the president, and for you to make sure that these things go down the drain where it's supposed to be. You call the youth, you call the farmers. For you to do this, you have to, we are what you call clusters. So in all the communities in Anambra State, we try to make it a kind of a cluster. This cluster where this thing can be reached easily. So these clusters are the people, you form a group. Like government don't give something individuals. If you want to get something normal and for you to have that effectively, you have to go through clusters. So the cluster, what we have, we emphasize it here. We have e-agric here, where we have data of all the farmers in this Anambra State. Both youth, women, we don't have gender disparity, everybody is equal. So we have encouraged them to form a cluster We have here a desk officer here who will register them. And we have a station agent who now move down to these communities and make sure that these people that this input have been brought out, make sure you reach to them. And they will educate them how to use those inputs. We teach them here. We have use a resource grant here. We have meeting here where we have researchers to come here and bring the knowledge from all the high institutions, researchers in the country. They come here. We have what we call the MTRM meeting, that is manager training research meeting, review meeting. Then I would now go down to what have the FNT, fortnightly training meeting. This is where you now give all the managers in agriculture who have all the zones. We have 4 zones in Anambra State. They'll come here and get information. They'll go to their zone and teach the extension agent what they got here. This extension agent will now go to the rural area and meet the farmers and the youth and make sure these things are being, taken. And if accepted or not accepted, adoption, whatever, they come back with feedback and know why. Still follow them up. That is what government has brought into the support of the state government, making sure this thing go down the drain. So that's what we do also do here from all these things that the job mentioned here. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I think the rest of this we'll sit down so that we'll stop standing up and down. So the next question I want to know is that these policies that you have all highlighted, they are quite laudable. They are very beautiful policies. However, for everything you do, you should be able to have a way to measure your results, to find out what you are doing. Are you pouring water into a basket, or are you being successful? So is there a place you can tweak or change 1 or 2 things? The question now is, for the past couple of years since these policies have been rolled out, what are the results, measurable results that no one can deny and say, we put in this is what we have gotten. We put in this is the improvement. How do we correlate it and be sure that these things we are doing are actually working?
Thank you very much. Your first question you asked, you mainly said palm plantation, but that's why I focused my answer on palm plantation. And I'm seeing in the same line. I'm just saying from 2022, I think when the present governor came on board, just like I said before, he dealt more on this palm revolution, coconut and palm plantation, and other impulse, but he mainly focused on palm plantation. Why? Because if you have a single palm in your house, the sky is your limit. If you can harness it very, very well, the sky is your limit. So what we did here is that we distributed those palms through the activities of the extension agents. We have extension agents almost in all localities. Not in all, but at least 75%. So this extension agent knows the farmer, knows where the palm is going, so that he will have to monitor and give us feedback. Like now, what the governor is saying now is that he wants the feedback from the 2 years or 3 years he has distributed this. What is the success story? And they have been going around the whole vicinity collecting success stories. Most of them have started fruiting under 2 years and you'll be very marveled that a palm of 2.5 years has started bearing fruit. And the palm he distributed is this 9-4 Malaysia type that produce soil. So you might just go to one compound, you see just 2 palms. And if you look around it, you can see about 10 fresh fruit bunch, which means what he has done is yielding a dividend. So I can say the measurable achievement lies with the extension agent who distributed this these things to the farmers, and then they are bringing feedback to the ministry, which are being documented at the city center here. So we have a lot of success stories in terms of palm, but in terms of coconut nut, maybe by next year we start seeing the dividend of that. Thank you very much.
So, just at the risk of taking you back, there's something I missed. There's this youth to agricultural scheme that has been pursued by Mr. Governor. Why it wasn't mentioned earlier was because it is primarily domiciled with the Ministry of Youth. It's part of the One Youth, Two Skills projects at the Ministry of Youth. But with regards to the scheme, youth to agricultural scheme, we work in tandem with Ministry of Youth to ensure that it's a success, and so far, I may not have the figures as to the number of youths that have passed through that scheme. Okay. However, I think it's substantial. And because what happens is that these youths who are interested in agriculture are put through what would look like Iwa Boy, okay, with established farmers in the states, which are drawn from our records here. They go through it for 6 months, 1 year. Then when they are done, they look, because through the period you're always being monitored. Then the state now sort of encourages the farmer, the person that's passed through this process, with stipends to start something, So they kind of give them monetary subvention, or whatever you might call it now, to start their own, So that is one way we've actually tried to encourage, the government has actually tried to encourage farmers, youths, to get into agriculture, learn the rudiments and start something for themselves. Then with respect to what you asked about measurable data, I mean, you'll be expecting to hear numbers, figures, right? I would have loved to provide numbers and figures, but perhaps I might have to send it across, okay? Because I can't say offhand now. Like you said, the records are still being collected. In fact, it has been what Mr. Governor said, that this year we are going to make some sort of evaluation to see what we've been doing. Let's see, but in some places, it's 70%. If we discount the fruits that were lost, the seedlings that were lost on transits and all that, survival rate is close to 70-80% in some places. That is off the top of my head, the ones I know. Okay. So, however, to give you a concrete number, I have to just get back to you on that. So, thank you so much.
All right. One very important aspect when it comes to this agriculture is land. From our deep research, we have realized that the agricultural land that the Southeast had, let's say in the 80s, has reduced drastically because of the high rise of building. Any expanse of land you see, they're doing estates. Any place you see, it's reducing the farmland, and by implication, reducing what anybody can produce. Now, what is your position of the government, and what measures are the government taking to ensure that we don't build everything and have no lands to farm?
Okay, may I start? So, with respect to that, it's a general problem. I think Anambra has one of the smallest land mass after Lagos. It's an ongoing challenge. Communities whose lands were taken for the sole purpose of agriculture have suddenly started to say, give us our land back. We need our land. And what they do is, once government agrees to excise portions of those land and give to them, what they do is to convert it to a real estate. Get a speculator, start, building there. However, under this present governor, I'm very sure of that, he has put an end. I think there was an interview he had one time, and he was saying that there is no room for land grabbers masquerading. In that, I'm paraphrasing now. There's no room for land grabbers masquerading as agricultural investors. Okay, so what we and in collaboration with the Ministry of Lands, what has happened under this present government is that no new before land is given out, you must prove beyond doubt, okay, that this is what I mean, this is what you want to use it for, and also I think also in those areas where the communities are requesting return of their lands, because that's a big problem. They want land for something else, not necessarily agriculture. We've continued to dialogue with them, to see how we can convince them on the necessity of leaving that place at ministry level now. We've continued to dialogue with them to see how they can convince them on the necessity of leaving that place for agriculture. Okay, so it is it's a continuous struggle because there's no land. People need land for diverse reasons, So it's a competition between these land use and the alternative land use, So it's a struggle, but we can do the most. I think the most we can do is I don't know what else we can do. I don't know what else we can do than what we are already doing. And again, this is also, I think also that Mr. Governor I think he has his foot on the ground as regards to people who want to use land for any reasons that are not necessarily to public interest. So that's what I have to say. Perhaps my boss.
This year profession is a very sensitive profession, highly sensitive, because you see, just like you said, land is a very big problem in Southeast. There's no gainsaying the fact. Even if you map out that land for Greek within 1 year or 2 years, you see the youths coming back to that land and disturbing you. And when you even do something there, they can even go as far as destroying those things and doing whatever they want to. So it's a very big problem. And I sincerely believe that maybe government should enact a law, a strong law, and then enforce the law. Because there's nothing that you make law, you will not enforce the law. It's not more a law. There are so many places, agricultural land, that the villagers, they have turned into coming to that land. And people from this movement say, I even go in there, dialoguing with them, sort of pleading with them, let's do it. But still, when you finish, then you go back. The idea, they still come back. So if the government can enforce that law, I think we can go to a very long mile. But apart from that, that problem still exists. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, the reason why I asked this particular question, remember, I'm making this inquiry, this interview is for the youths. We have a large following. We are making it beautiful for people to come in. And there are some very nitty-gritty questions, little questions that they have been having. During our research, we realized that during the 50s, 1950s or so, the then government built a lot of palm oil mills. You see very good palm oil mills. Standard, in fact, they were done by the British. I don't know much about Anambra State here, but in Abia State and Akwa Ibom State, there are so many. These things produce it's not this one they do hand, like it's powered by palm kernel shell, and it's helped everything work. Unfortunately, if you go to those mills, either they have looted the machines, you will see one part, you will not see one part, or they have sold it to scrap people. Then the ones that are still standing, there's no plantation to feed it. As we are talking right now, we did a video in March in Item, Amoku Item. They have a farm settlement there, and they have this machine. If you go down there, they process only once in a week. When you ask them, why are you people processing it? They say there's no palm fruit to process. The so-called palm plantation that have been already done, people have cut down the thing, built individual houses and stuff like that. That is why we have been trying to understand if there is anything the government is doing to at least help us. We know our land is small, but the youth will say, atol na bad pass. Even if it is small, let us still have something preserved. And that is why we wanted to know what they are doing. Anyway, away from that, one of the things that motivated me to start doing what we do is because of a post I saw online. It was a motivational speaker. He was saying something that the farther away you are from the farm, the more money you make. He was saying it. People, I came to the comment section. I saw a lot of people like, yes, the farmer is who farm, you buy it, the middleman, this, you add value, and in the end, the farmer gets the short end of the stick. But when you look at it realistically, everybody depends on the farmer. Why should the farmer get the short end of the stick? Now, the question is, what can be done about it to make sure that the farmers do not end up having the short end of the stick?
Well, I want to thank you, Carlo, for coming again. And before I answer the question, I want to also appreciate all the participants in this, what we're saying. Yes, the question you asked is normally they say life is not fair. Life is not fair. What you're asking is similar to the teacher who trained us, even the teacher who trained you. At the end, the teachers' allowances before were the lowest. While you see the engineers like me and some medical doctors, we earn huge and we drive good cars. But our teachers can't even afford to buy, unless we buy it for them. But that is our foundation. Those are people who made us who we are. So you ask this question, and this thing is not peculiar to Nigeria. It's all over the world. The people who put in more efforts end up eating like ants. But in the part of agriculture, speaking from the technology part, where I stand, and engineering part, I believe if you reduce the stress in farming, you will be helping the farmer. As I'm talking to you as of today, we have not strived in technology in Nigeria, because what united me and you was me telling you the capacity, what I can deliver as an engineer to make Nigerian indigenous designs, technology to grow. So that's what brought me and you. And now, if you look at India, Indians used both animals to farm. They used bulls. They use this, but where we are today in Nigeria here, we have not even used semi-mechanized. It is just a finger here or there. Then maybe in the northern part of the country, you say, okay, they're tractorized, they do, but we're still not doing enough when it comes to technology, because we are always depending on the foreign technology, China, America, UK. We have not developed ours. If you develop technology, it will not be so stressful to the primary producer, which is the farmer. Is to reduce his stress. That's the frustration you see in their face when you see farmers that made our youth to run away from agriculture. Say, I don't want to be like this. This man is in rags. Look at his face, wrinkles, everything. Is this how I'm going to be if I'm a farmer? That thing will reduce. Then you have more output. With technology, you have more output. You put in little effort and more output you have, and that means more output means more money. That means the living standard of the farmer will improve. But if you depend on your hand, like I know many people who destone rice with their hands. My friend, most of you might know him today, is Wisdom Rice. He's one of the biggest rice producer in Anambra State today. In fact, the world called Anambra Rice. All of us know him. He's my good friend. When he started, before the government came to his rescue, he was removing in his factory. He was destoning rice with hand. It was very, very hard for him at that time. But when the government supported him with technology, the stoners, he improved, and today he's where he is today. So technology can play a part in reducing the frustration of the primary producer, which is the farmer which you're talking about. Is the primary producer, I believe so. So it reduces, and it will make him have more yield, which that yield will turn into more money, and the standard of living would increase. But without technology, both everywhere, in not only agricultural sector, every sector will suffer, because it is technology that made you make it possible to come here today. You enter the vehicle. If you were to walk from Abia State, from where you came from, to this place, it will take you maybe 1 week. You're not here yet on legs. So those farmers you see, they are walking from Aba on foot to okay. So that's in metaphorically speaking. You understand what I'm saying? So technology can do a long way where I come in. And I believe that the state government, the federal government, which I work for, if they utilize because there are a lot of staff that are underutilized. You might study all you study, come into the ministry, due to the bureaucracy, you might not have the opportunity to be able to put it out there. And when you put it out there, you may not have the funding to be able to develop those things for them. And you grow old, you retire, and you leave the service. And when your children see the kind of suffering you went through during the service, your life as a civil servant, they will say, I don't want to be a civil servant. So the chain of reaction continues. So there is something we can do. Technology can help us, because if you go to any part of the world, let's make farming easy. Let us, those that have the technical know-how to build our technologies, like myself, like many of us in the ministry, let the government, let people that have the funding, maybe the CBN, the African Development Bank, and all those that can give grants, let them give such people that empowerment so that they can make farming easy, and so that more yield and the standard of living will be improved. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that wonderful explanation. What we are just saying is how to lure the youths into agriculture. And you have highlighted the basic facts: technology, mechanization. Our agriculture has not been mechanized as of now. Even if we have those mechanization, the land has not been developed. Because if you bring all these machines from China, Indian, it's working perfectly there. But when you bring them here, it will not work. Why? Because our land has not been developed. If you develop a land, then you can bring all those machines. They will come and work very, very good on the land. But where the land is not developed, you can bring one. Okay, let me assume something like plant seeds. You see? When you bring it, you can see that if you are doing the thing, one can plant up to 10 to 20 in a place, because the land is not developed. But where I am against is that thing that you say, agriculture can accommodate everybody. It's the highest provider of employment. The youth cannot just base on the primary production. Somebody can go into production. Somebody can go into processing. Companies can go into marketing, packaging, until it reaches the final consumer, which is you and me. The youth can go into the value chain of agri. They can be the processor. There's nothing wrong with that, and they will make money. And in agriculture now, just like you said, the person that is the primary producer might not be the person making the gain. It might be somebody that has given a finishing touch to that thing that they produce, process it very well. Okay, something like this rice. You can buy rice, process the rice, destone that rice, package the rice very, very well, and sell at a very higher rate. The youth can still be there. But the thing is that, do they have the passion to do that? All this get money quick is what is affecting our youth now. And now the ministry now is doing something that we are saying you can use your smartphone to do agriculture, whereby some of them are keying into that. There's one app you will use in your farm. You dictate the pests and diseases that are attack here, this thing there. So some are even trying to come into that using their phone to monitor your farm, tell you what is wrong with your farm, and then you can even pay them. Then the government now, some are into fishery, like this FABDA. They have gotten a village, 3 villages, one in each senatorial zones, where they call these youths and then impart fishing technology to them, how to produce their fish pond, how to fertilize. So some people there are so many of them now that are doing that primarily to produce fish. So I think that agriculture can accommodate even both the youth, the farmer, which is you and me, and everybody that has a passion for agriculture. Thank you.
Okay, I want to maybe make a bit a clarification kind of, so that we'll continue the discourse.
Okay.
So basically, we all agree on one thing, that the farmer earns the least. We have agreed on it. Now, if it is established, people love going to where they will earn more. Processing, value addition is actually maybe marketing. That is where there's more money. If we continue with this narrative, instead of encouraging people to go and do the farming, they might decide on doing value addition. Take for instance, when the farmer goes into the mill, harvests palm, processes, whatever, he might be selling 25 liters of palm oil at the rate of, let's say, 55,000 naira. Someone else picks that oil, packages it properly, does 1 or 2 things on it, and now sell it at a premium. Comparatively, this one is making more money. That the person that optimized it is making more money than the farmer. By so doing, it will now make the youth, if I'm presented with both opportunities, I would love to go where I would make more money. You understand? So if we are all heading toward this, well, we know this is a flawed system, but is there anything that is being done? Life is not fair, but it should not mean we should all allow it to remain like. Sometimes we make our effort to stabilize it a bit. Is there anything being done to help make it appealing for someone like me to say, okay, instead of processing, let me go and do the plantation myself?
Yes.
There's a interesting thing you just said here, which is very, very important. You see, the youth these days know they are very, very interested in agriculture now. If you go around now, because of the present policy in Anambra State now, I remember those days when the former governor Ubiana was in power. The more youth are going into agriculture now, it's not like then now. Reason. There are something that are fascinating outside you to only look at. Those things are not gathered there. Like we here, the Ministry of Agriculture here, youth come here to ask for where young youth come to ask where can we go and get a land and start planting one thing or other, like cucumber, all these tremoons, crops, watermelons. Because what's interesting is that not where you can stay for a very long year, a short period, a short run, and make your money. Instead of you going to do this. So these are things that youth goes into now. All this watermelon, cucumber, all the pepper, all those things. You know, these are where you goes into now. Very interesting. Most youth come here, I will encourage them, get one plot of land. You can use that one plot of land, you crop in 3 times in a year. I say, how? Say, look at what will happen. Get it now, make sure you have a water standby. If you use a well, something like a well there, you can do it. Get cucumber, get pepper. Within 3 years, you see your money. As you're doing it, you're doing another one. You can still divide the land. As you're harvesting this one, you're harvesting this one. harvest this one, and putting more within the, it gives you that joy. When somebody who is somewhere joking, see how that money is coming, he will now rush in. This is a strategy we're making them to do now. They come here, we'll give them and see, we are seeing a result. Okay? So this is what is happening now. So even if you like, okay, even if you think about this like a palm seedling, there's another good thing youth comes in now. Get a palm kernel. Within 1 month or 2 months, it comes up. You sell it out. People will come. It's an interesting business. Sell one 200, 300, 500, 600. You produce like 1,000 seedlings. How much are you making? Within short 3 or 4 months, you make more money and produce more. So this is interesting something. Not looking for those days farmers go and suffer. No, you don't like this way. Okay?
So
Thank you.
let me just add to what. Let me just add to all he has said. I think in Anambra State, the crop we've made the most progress with respect to mechanization is rice. Okay, Omo area. Now he mentioned that you need a lot of mechanizations to make the primary producers more profitable. You know, if you go to Omo, our that axis, higher melon axis, we have this IFAD value chain development program here. They are very active around that area. And what happens there is farmers farm in clusters, like he mentioned once about clusters. Farmers farm in clusters, or these, what's it called? Yeah, clusters. That's the best word. Cooperatives, exactly. So what happens there is, in order to reduce the economy of scale, you know, it's a large area. They sort of bound together to cultivate those areas. In that way, the cost of production is not as much as if they are doing it in fragments here and there, you know, because when it's time to harvest, they harvest as a group. When it's time to process, they process as a group. And this is why, in order to make the primary producers a lot more profitable, that's why the state uses the cluster method to reach out to farmers. You know, so farming, two things could help them get more profitable by that primary production. If they bound together, which we are doing here, and if they have the mechanization necessary for them, you know, to reduce their cost of production, which the value chain development program, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture, does very well in those rice belts in Anambra State. Okay. Could we do it more in other crops like cassava, maize? We can do more. We don't have, you know, the resources at the moment in the States. But with respect to rice, whether we are doing drone spraying, whether they are doing harvesting, you know, with combined harvesters and all that, you know, I think those rice belts have made a lot of the state has made a lot of progress with respect to rice value chain, you know, and rice farmers in order to help them increase their profitability. So that's what I can say with respect to production.
Okay. That is lovely. Now we have had cluster. So I want you to explain to us what a cluster means. Secondly, how someone can become a member of a cluster, the criteria for someone to become a member of a cluster, and number 3, the advantages of actually being part of a cluster. So this is to show people a direct roadmap on why they should go into clusters and be part of it.
Okay. Cluster, you can form a cluster where you get a number of 10 person to 25. Why is it like that? You can manage 25 numbers, 10 to 25. You can form a cluster. And how do you become a cluster? Like I told you, we have a DEX officer here. If you're a farmer, we come encourage you to be a member of a cluster. That's a cooperative. You will be given a form here. you now list the names of those members that you want them to be. That 10 or 25, they will be on that form. You come with that form they give you back here, they will see the name and know that these people actually exist. With their passport photograph, they will see them. After that, they will now register them. You wait for some days, they will give you a certificate. When you are given a certificate, you have a name. This cluster must have a chairman and a secretary in a cluster. So this chairman will oversee the meeting. They will be coming, doing meeting from time to time. They have a bylaw. They'll be given a bylaw. The government have a bylaw for forming a cooperative or a cluster. So they'll give you a bylaw. From that bylaw, you go through the bylaw, what you'll be doing there. You'll be having meeting from time to time. In this meeting, if governments want to give you something, like I said, they're not giving you just something now. If government want to give something like any input, financial grants, whatever, is through the cluster. 10 or 20 something person cannot miss at the same time. You have somebody to hold on, to ask questions, what is happening. But if it's one person or two, you might find it difficult to reach. That's why we will encourage cluster should be between 10 and 25. So this cluster is you have a common kind of a demo or management plot, as you can call it, where you have a particular crop which you ask government to want. You can have your individual, but you have a kind of a complete plot where you go and if government comes, as you can see, this is what we'll be doing. You can have like this oil mill is there, depending what you want. Cluster can have an oil mill, can have a cassava processing center, can have a rice, mill, can have rice farm. It's a cluster. But we have this, but now you use this cluster name to come to government and collect something from government. Government know that this cluster is there. We are giving this cluster so thing. Like for example, where I was in Sasakawa Global 2000. This Sasakawa Global 2000 have given so many clusters, both the stoner, like you said, thresher, milling machine, power tiller. Then you have different type of farmers in this. You have the cassava farmers, you have maize farmers, you have rice farmers. These are clusters. And the clusters, we only have what we call a specific. If you want to do on this maize, you concentrate on maize. You go for maize. If you want to do on rice, you go for rice. If you want to go on the cassava, you go to cassava. So that we know, yes, this so cluster are cultivating cassava, and then we are going to deal with them. And this is for rice, we're going to deal with them. These are for maize, we're going to deal with them. So that you have where you can say, go here, you see this cluster, this is the crop they are doing. This is how government put it for easy accessible. Okay? That's it.
Okay, let me add to. I'll speak on the advantage of cluster. He has already mentioned some of it. So some of the advantages of having a cluster is you can share infrastructure. Like it might be difficult for one farmer to have a warehouse, but but as a cluster, the government can give you those things. One, then all of you share it, or you can even contribute money amongst yourselves and be able to do that. And then you share liability. Now, if in case, let me assume that there's something happening to your farm and you are the only person, you will be the one to go for it. If there are legal case, you have to be the one to carry it. But if it's a cluster, it's easier. You can contribute money and get a lawyer, and the matter will be settled. Another one again is like if you want maybe water supply in terms of irrigation, it's easier to have one borehole that serves the whole cluster than everybody digging his own borehole. It will also save land because digging boreholes destroys land. And so if one cluster has one, so it saves that. So there's a lot of benefit. Then it builds a team spirit. You understand? Because agriculture, we all know is difficult. Doing it alone is difficult. But when you have a team that you work with, you will go further. You understand? Then labor is cheaper when you are in a cluster because you want to work together. You get one labor, but if it's individual, you might even be spending the same money that the cluster will spend for just the general work. Yeah, so that is just the advantage of having a cluster.
Last but not the then agriculture is full of risk. But if you are in a cluster and there is a disaster, and if you insure that your farm, because if I know this you must have to insure your farm. Then if the farm is insured in case of the natural disaster like flooding, all these Fulani herdsmen clash and they come and destroy your farm, the insurance company can still pay you back. But if you are a single person having a farm, by the time you go, the thing will come today, come to tomorrow. You might even use to get your farm. But if you are in a cluster of maybe 10 to 25 and the farm is insured, if there is all this flooding that will come and ravage the farm, you can still get something back from them. So that's one of the benefits of being in a cluster farm. Thank you.
Thus, at the risk of drawing back the hand on the clock, there's something you asked about how clusters are formed. The answer is, but I just want to treat this in. Some clusters are actually being formed or being introduced to the ministry by the extension agents in the field. They know these farmers. So essentially what they do is, okay, you are doing this, you are doing that, you are doing this. How about you lease land together in this area? They organize these farmers into clusters at that level. Sometimes they come here, sometimes at that level, the extension agents, extension officers, organize these farmers there, then help them with the process of officially being recognized and registering as a cluster. So whichever works, sometimes we are seated and people just walking, and they say they are registering. Like, can we register? Okay, and you help them. Other times, the extension agent brings the information of people needing to be organized as clusters, to the ministry. So these are the two ways clusters are formed, but always between people of common interests, people who want to do this, whether it's rice, whether it's maize, whether it's any of the chains of production, chains of value, chain addition, any of that. So that's what I wanted to add to that.
All right. We have actually taken a while answering questions, so we are actually winding down now. We have heard a lot about technology, and most of our people do not really have much confidence when it comes to our technological development, like a very good palm oil mill, a rice mill, or palm kernel crushing, all those kind of things. So the question then is, what is our capacity in Nigeria here? What can the ministry do? And what level of expertise are we talking about? If we can even give a little details on the type, we can share it.
Okay, without wasting much of your time, as we're winding up, I want to say that with all confidence, no country's technology is yet perfect. I'll give a short example of the Iran and the Israel war. Israel is one of the countries that have technology, both for agriculture and both for warfare. They are very good in technology. But yet, you can see that even the Iron Dome had some flaws. What has killed our indigenous technology for a very long time is thinking that we have to be perfect to start. You understand what I'm saying? Most of the ones we get from the foreign places, China, is still imperfect. It might look fine in your eye, but there are still innovations going on to make it better. But they pushed it to us, and we used it as they brought it. We grew with it, and after they sent another new model to us, saying we have corrected that mistake. But here, the people don't have faith in what we do in here, but ours is even better. Now, speaking to Nigerians on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the State Ministry of Anambra State, that we have what it takes to develop a very sound palm oil mill in Nigeria here, latest technology. You understand what I'm saying? And as we go on, we keep improving it, but we have the best. We even have the system in palm oil mill where you might not even need a press to press it. And I will tell you, it's easy. Engineering principles is easy. Engineering principles comes from your day-to-day lifestyle. We all know how, for those who eat the popular falcon, you understand what I'm saying? It's still our mothers use hands, their own technology, to be able to in Igbo language. That's to be able to squeeze out the oil from the nut and the chaff using a perforated stainless material called sieve. It's still a form of technology. When they do it, when you notice when you are washing it, the candle becomes very clean, the chaff becomes very clean. That's just what you need, because what you need to pull out of palm is the oil, the sludge, and the water. Then later on, you will now remove water later on by what they call clarification method. I'm just cutting short, cutting about the short, but the process there is, in our own technology, is nowadays we have what we call the sterilizer, not just the one that cooks palm now. Sterilizer is you'll be able to cut a palm bunch today. You know that the seeds cannot fall out, it's very stiff. But when you put it into a steamer and you steam it, you release it, so the next thing you do, you put it into a debuncher, which works by slow movement and a rough edge body. As you are rolling it, it is and you create a distance between where the palm is going to fall from. You create a distance so that as it carries the palm up, it drops. Just the same way you are hitting the palm on the ground to let the seeds out. Because machine is not a rocket, it's the same method you are using before. But you're trying to make a machine now. It's the same method. So when you lift it up, it drops it. Then the body of the drum is rough enough to be pricking the palm. So it's falling. I'm giving it simple so that you have faith. You know what I'm saying? It's not a rocket science, very easy. As it's rolling, but it has to be slow. Because if you roll it very fast, centrifugal force will kick in, thereby making the palm to stick to the drum body. Then that means the seed will not fall out anymore. It will just be carrying the seed up and running. But when the speed is, you get the proper speed, it's able to drop. It's able to drop. It's dropping. The bumps will get free. And then what next? When you have gotten that seed, you now remove the chaff. There's also another one we developed that remove that leafy thing that is in the palm seed body, because you don't need to grind, you don't need to digest it together, because you add impurities to your palm. So you have to. We have another, as the palm is being threshed out of its bunch, it's falling into that other place that takes away the leaf. Remember, the leaf has smaller diameter, smaller dimension than the palm seed itself. So those small gaps in the what looks like a drum, also the leaves will fall off. As you are turning, the leaves will be going out of those places, and only the seed will be left to pass through. When you're getting that seed, you now put it in a digester. But I have my own personal digester, which if we work well with government, the government is supposed to be able to say, because that's what all the work do, and say, we encourage you for developing this particular type of digester. This digester helps you to do everything without using press there. As it's digesting it, water, oil, and sludge is going down to the bottom. Then at the end, the clean chaff, because now as you are digesting, you're adding warm water from the top. That means what you're doing, the same thing now our mother do with their hands. That's what the machine is doing, is at a larger scale. So when you are done, you have seen the candle clean enough. You open the door, there's a door by the back. That's the same what they call it, beaters. Will push out those candle and those chaff by the back side, which either it falls into a wheelbarrow or it falls into any other thing that you used to take it to where you, because all those things are still money. Yes. Those chaff, you can grind it as fiber to pick food, or the kernel can be also further processed into other things. So you take it outside, but it will not be cleaner. In this my system of palm oil mill, you have less oil loss.
than using the normal system you use where you use press. We have checked that no matter how you press, you still have oil left in the chaff. That's why in the village mills you see those when you put it, when they use it to do what they call ederi, like a village candle. But with this method we're talking about, the chaff will be so clean that you wouldn't have oil. The minimal oil loss will be done with this method I'm talking about. I've already done. I have the pictures already. I've done it in another state before at Omuchu. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So then after that, you now when you've done that, you've gotten your oil, water, and sludge. You push it into a clarifier. What does the clarifier do? It's a tank where you have to heat it again. You heat it again, and then as you're heating, you are stirring with an electric motor, where you know that the density of water, oil, and sludge is different. So the oil will go up, the water will be in the middle, the sludge will be at the bottom. So you run a valve through it. So at the point you open and see oil, you start letting the oil out to the point where you see water starts going to add into it. What do? You switch it off, then push it to the next place where you move the final moisture. Now you want to store the oil now. So you have a what you call a moisture meter, where you have to check the moisture content for storage. So when you check it, when that allow to cool, then you pump it into us will still do the reservoir tank for you, and we use materials that will not add impurities. All these palm oils we eat. Most of us don't know why we have kidney problems. Most of us don't know why we have a lot of diseases happening. Those materials they use, as an engineer, there are materials you don't use there are food grade materials. You understand what I'm saying? There are water pumps for food, and there's water pump for factory that is not food. Any food grade water pump you see will have stainless all over where water will go through. Any place food will touch, it has to be an expensive stainless material. But most of what you see here, they use ordinary metal material that brings iron filings, and rust on it. So because of oil, it's a lubricant. Oil will now wash that material. It will not be so clean. They say that no, you don't need. What you need is just if the oil you wash it into the oil. It will bring that oil and eat it. That's why USA does not trust us in most of our products. So what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to technology, rice processing, for now, the ones we cannot build, we buy from China. But majority of them can be built here, and it's better you even seek our services, because when it comes to after sales service, it's easier for us, it's cheaper for you, because if China does it for you, you need if you pay them to come back to do it for you, the company will go down, because you spend a lot. They will not pity that they have sold this thing to you before. Even if there is factory faults, they'll still charge you to come here and still repair it. So when it comes to technology, we have the one for rice, palm oil, garri processing, and then when it comes to cassava processing, the Chinese don't eat cassava. So it is us that designed all the equipment for cassava, and then they now copied. They came here, copied some of them, and went back to do it. And sometimes when they do it, they over-process our product because they don't eat it. If you see the palm oil that Chinese produce, you won't be able to consume it, but then they don't eat it, so they don't know the kind of level we want it to. We don't want it over-processed. We don't want it to be like groundnut oil. But theirs is always, the palm oil is like groundnut oil, which we don't, they say, no, Gabriel, which is that local one, which we here can do it. So that's what I'm trying to say. The confidence in our indigenous, especially myself, I can't say for any other person, but I can speak for myself. You need any technology when it comes to agriculture in this country, contact Engineer Abiakam Franklin, Federal Minister of Agriculture, and you will have your solution, both for poultry, both for piggery, both for abattoir, standard abattoir. You know what we have is meat cutting. We don't have correct abattoir yet, where you have proper chain, your meats are moving in chains, circulating, you're cutting very clean. You won't have a lot of aflatoxin affecting your crops because you use the wrong materials. So thank you once again for the question.
Thank you. Let me add to what you have just said, because it's also everything is down to faith. Everything is down to faith in our local engineers. Um, I don't think we have these details on our records. Okay. Because in the States, you try to get data on farmers, primary producers, then businesses, in Anambra State. And it's not just the production area, we're also looking at processing. Then those involved in agri-tech. And that is where, it falls under. And with respect to technology and whether they exist, or whether we can, our engineers are up to it. I think I believe strongly that our engineers are up to it. I've seen their works firsthand. And it will even surprise you that as unshiny as their works may be, they will last longer than once you imported. I used to know of a developer who did this this machine that pounds yarn. Okay? Now, the one I bought from him in 2016 actually, served me close to 8 years or thereabout. It was only till last 3 years or last 4 years that I began to have issues. Okay? Now, the ones that are made in China, that the Chinese saw someone doing and then decided to copy, the difference is that these ones that are made in China, you might need to put more water to get it to pound to that tensile, strength that you need it to be. The other one will pound it very well. You'll find that it has a lot of strength to pound to that stretch. There's a way you pound yarn, you like it. So the point I'm making is this: it is down to faith. We have a list of fabricators and agric engineers who are doing good work in Anambra State here. And the problem is convincing our farmers that they can trust that they are enough, that they can do this. When government goes to do something with clusters, when they go to do business with clusters, providing them these equipments, they use our local fabricators. They use our engineers. They don't import. But if a farmer comes here and you tell him to go and meet this engineer, he begins to doubt whether, but he forgets that it's the same engineer that made the one that he saw somewhere. The same local engineer that made that one that he saw somewhere that brought him here to ask questions on how he could get it. So those are the two things. Then I also think that there's a factor here, the costs. Okay, the Chinese may make cheap products. I think it's my experience that the Chinese will give you something cheaper than what most of our fabricators will get you. But in the long run, okay, the ones that our producers need, the ones that our fabricators need, will last longer. And the added value to it is that you have the benefits of calling on them wherever after sales services. When there are issues with your equipment, in fact, they can even give you concessions that the Chinese man doesn't have time for. So with respect to agricultural mechanization, faith comes in, then because with faith you can actually say, let me even put this money and buy this thing. So I think that's where we could work on.
Okay, the final question so that we end the interview. We have mentioned your capacity in this technology or this equipment. How do people reach out? What is the pathway? How do they? Someone wants to set up a rice milling facility or a palm kernel crushing facility. How do they? And to ensure they avoid, the trade that the government is always associated with bureaucracy. How do someone get it? As a businessman, you want to get your goods. How do you do it?
The good thing is that this is not even. You don't need to approve anything for such a person. All we need to do is put our stamp on whoever we're directing the person to. given that we've worked with this person, he's capable, and he delivers what he says he delivers. You know, so that's why when people come here, we go through our list of fabricators, and we direct them to the one that's closest to them. There's a cluster of them in Onitsha. There's a cluster in Anambra. There's a cluster in Nnewi based on our our records. You know, so, but my chairman here, I wasn't aware he's into, and he's not even on our records. So perhaps after now, I could get his records and also update our what we have with us. So yes, once they come here, what we do is, okay, where are you coming from? Look at the numbers you could call. Okay? Speak with them. Many of these people can serve you. Speak with them and get the best bargain. Because it's just business. You don't have to approve anything. You don't have to get involved. Don't break pressure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Right.
We really appreciate the time we've had. The questions we are, like I said, directed to ensure we bring out some of these salient things that many people are not aware of. And one of the things we do is visit localities. You know, when you're talking about farm, rice farm plantation, if you're talking it with two mouth and nobody's seeing it, most times it doesn't make much effect, it doesn't make much impact. So we'll be using this opportunity to also plead with the ministry that we would wish that some of these things that you have mentioned that you are doing, for us to see it. It must not be on this particular trip. Maybe at your convenient time, you reach out to us. We come around with our team, make videos, documentaries on these things, and you can also use your mouth to tell the story, because I won't be the one to tell the story of how it's going. You'll be the one to use the opportunity to tell the stories. When you tell the stories, more people will see it, and by so doing, more people will join. So I really thank all of you for coming out and the answering the question. It was quite impactful. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. I hope that by your coming, Anambra State gets shown as a viable place for agriculture. Yes, we have land issues. We don't have a lot of land. However, this agriculture in this modern age does not revolve around the size of land you have. It is how well you could make use of that land. Okay? So, I don't think the state wants people who want to own the whole place and not put it to good use. If anybody wants to do agriculture in Anambra State, they can come. We will do what we must as a state to encourage the person, you know, whether it's liaising with the communities. You know how land is owned in Southeast General. So whether it's liaising with the communities, whether it's the government-facing area, we could actually be the go-between to ensure that whatever investments that people intend to bring to Anambra State in respect to agriculture becomes a success. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much.